Hello, basketball people, we have news. Let's go to more news about the Golden State Warriors. I ask you to give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, as I am a Warriors fan. The Warriors need better defense and also players who are athletic, and Herbert Jones from the New Orleans Pelicans fits this profile. Trade suggestion: the Warriors are interested in bringing Herbert Jones to San Francisco. It has been a slow offseason thus far for the Golden State Warriors despite them looking to upgrade their roster around their star trio of Stephen Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green. Golden State began their offseason by selecting Alex Tui and Will Richard in the second round of the 2025 NBA Draft. Since then, the Warriors have yet to make any other moves despite free agency beginning on Monday night. Instead, Golden State lost veteran center Kevin Looney as he signed in free agency with the New Orleans Pelicans, decimating the Warriors' frontcourt even more. It has been reported that Golden State is in talks with Al Horford to sign him in free agency, but with many other teams interested in the champion from the Boston Celtics, they may have to turn elsewhere to upgrade their roster. On Wednesday, a report by Clutch Point's Brett Siegel mentioned another player the Warriors could target this offseason to bolster their roster. That player is Pelicans forward Herbert Jones, who Siegel reported the Warriors would have interest in if New Orleans makes him available this summer. Jones would be a solid addition to the Warriors roster as he is a great 3-and-D wing, though he has struggled with injuries during his career. Last season, the 26-year-old guard averaged 10.3 points, 3.9 rebounds, 3.3 assists and 1.9 steals per game while shooting 43.6% from the field and 30.6% from three-point range in only 20 games due to injury. With the Warriors needing forward depth, acquiring Jones would be a massive boost to their roster, though the Pelicans have shown no interest in trading him this offseason. Even if New Orleans does end up making Jones available, they will likely want a large return due to his age and defensive abilities, and because of that, Golden State may not be able to afford him. 3 teams that can still take Jonathan Kuminga problem off Warriors' hands. Players. Jonathan Kuminga is a restricted free agent, and it's been widely believed that he will part ways with the Golden State Warriors after a tumultuous 4-year relationship. However, Kuminga's suitors remain unclear as he is seeking a $30 million annual contract. Perhaps this number gets lowered to the $20 to $15 million range. Nevertheless, a sign-and-trade scenario feels likely for Kuminga, given there are so few teams that have cap space. With that in mind, here are 3 teams that can solve the Warriors' Kuminga problem. Sacramento Kings. According to Jake Fisher, the Kings have emerged as a landing spot for Kuminga. In an ultra-competitive Western Conference, the Kings are in a weird spot, as a team. However, landing another forward and getting younger makes sense. Fisher mentioned the possibility of Malik Monk being included in a sign-and-trade deal for the Warriors. From Golden State's perspective, this could be the best return they'd get for Kuminga. Monk would be an ideal fit in the Warriors system and would provide another source of shot creation. While moving off Monk and signing Kuminga might seem risky, with Zach LaVine in the mix, Monk's skill set is a bit redundant. For the Kings, getting a talented and athletic forward who can score at a high level could be a worthy gamble. Miami Heat. The Heat are arguably the most well-discussed suitor for Kuminga. With the Eastern Conference wide open, Miami could be looking to upgrade its roster. Landing a wing to complement Tyler Herro and Bam Adebayo also makes sense for the Heat. Plus, getting some youth and upside would be logical for the Heat. Kuminga's scoring abilities would undoubtedly benefit the Heat. Crucially, Miami recently created a $16 million trade exception after the Duncan Robinson sign-and-trade with the Detroit Pistons. This could open up the door for Miami to land Kuminga. For the Warriors, getting some flexibility to make a later move in return for Kuminga would be ideal. Chicago Bulls. The Bulls are another team with reported interest in Kuminga. However, their path to landing him is complex, especially with Josh Giddey likely earning a sizable contract extension. Furthermore, the Bulls just drafted Noah Essing and traded for Isaac Okoro. Kuminga would get priority over both players, but he could hinder Essing's development. The Bulls could possibly move Nikola Vucevic or Kobe White in a sign-and-trade deal for Kuminga. While moving Vucevic is understandable, it gives the Bulls a clear hole at center. Moving off White makes sense given his contract. However, only getting Kuminga back feels underwhelming, as White could have a robust trade market. For the Warriors, White could fill a clear need of an additional shot creator, while Vucevic would provide some much-needed frontcourt support. Ultimately, while it's complicated, the Bulls are a team to monitor for Kuminga. Asking price for Warriors' potential center target revealed amid trade rumors. The Golden State Warriors entered the offseason looking to upgrade their roster around their star trio of Stephen Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green, but they have failed to make any major moves thus far. Golden State did select Alex Tui and Will Richard in the second round of the 2025 NBA draft, but they have yet to sign anyone in free agency despite it beginning on Monday night. Of course, the Warriors are still awaiting a decision by restricted free agent Jonathan Kuminga, as he could elect to either stay in the Bay or sign elsewhere, likely via a sign-and trade. The Warriors also entered free agency needing to address their void at the center position, and while they have been named as a landing spot for Boston Celtics champion Al Horford, they have yet to add a new starting center. With many big men already finding new teams, Golden State is running out of options, and they could instead look to the trade market to upgrade their frontcourt. One player who could be available is Utah Jazz center Walker Kessler, who the Warriors could end up targeting. On Wednesday, the Jazz's asking price for Kessler was revealed as Lakers insider Jovan Buha reported that Utah is seeking 2 first-round picks and a young player for Kessler. This is a massive asking price for the 23-year-old big man, but one that a team around the NBA could meet if they are desperate enough to land a center this offseason. Last season, Kessler averaged 11.1 points, 12.2 rebounds, 1.7 assists and 2.4 blocks per game while shooting 66.3% from the field. Be unwilling to meet Utah's asking price for Kessler, though he would be a solid addition to the roster, especially due to his defensive abilities. Despite this, Golden State may wait it out to see if Utah lowers their asking price, or they could target a different center to upgrade their lineup. Al Horford buzz rings louder after Warriors expressed disinterest in 2X All-Star. Is a Horford signing imminent? While there's been no official confirmation through the first 2 days of free agency, the Golden State Warriors remain a strong possibility for veteran center and 5X All-Star Al Horford. The buzz around a Horford move to the Warriors is only ringing loudly, particularly because the franchise has reportedly expressed their disinterest in a trade with the Chicago Bulls for 2X All-Star Nikola Vucevic. The Warriors have stepped away from trade interest in Nikola Vucevic. Golden State have been consistently linked to a move for Vucevic since early last season, but passed up a potential mid-season trade for the veteran big man even when it was still theoretically possible following the Jimmy Butler acquisition. The Bulls are making Vucevic available again this offseason as he enters the final year of an expiring $21.5 million contract, with the Warriors once again viewed as an obvious destination, particularly when Chicago also have interest in restricted free agent Jonathan Kuminga. Yet according to NBA insider Jake Fisher of the Stein Line, Golden State have moved beyond Vucevic despite the desire to add a veteran stretch big to pair with young centers Quinton Post and Tracy Jackson-Davis. The Warriors, though, appear to have moved away from past trade interest they previously registered in veteran Bulls center Nikola Vucevic, which might have helped spark something this summer. In regard to Kuminga, Fisher wrote, Vucevic is coming off a strong season with the Bulls, averaging 18.5 points, 10.1 rebounds, and 3.5 assists on 53% shooting from the floor and 40.2% from three-point range. Despite those impressive numbers, trading a 22-year-old athlete like Kuminga for a slow-footed, 35-year-old center in Vucevic wouldn't be overly wise from a Warrior perspective, even if it were mathematically possible considering the complications of the base year compensation rule. So if they're not interested in Vucevic, and with Brook Lopez signing a 2-year, $18 million contract with the LA Clippers, Golden State must be confident of landing Horford in their search for a playoff-proven center who can stretch the floor. While there's some concern given Horford has not officially agreed to a deal with the Warriors since free agency opened, there's still reasonably positive news from Fisher early on Wednesday. League sources say Golden State remains a leading contender to sign Al Horford away from Boston as a much-needed move to bolster a frontcourt rotation that is no longer home to Warrior-turned-New Orleans Pelican Kevin Looney, Fisher wrote. The Lakers have also been linked to a move for Horford, while the 39-year-old's departure from Boston may have been signaled by the Celtics signing their 15th player in Josh Minott on Tuesday, though the franchise could still make a trade to open up a roster spot and/or waive the non-guaranteed contracts of Mimi Esqueda or Jordan Walsh. Jonathan Kuminga mistake looks even more horrifying amid Warriors' stalemate. This is a disaster. Oh, how Jonathan Kuminga and his camp wish they could turn back time. The young forward and the Golden State Warriors are still yet to find a resolution on his future, having entered the offseason as a restricted free agent. The longer time goes, the more it appears likely that Kuminga won't get the sort of deal he had envisioned before entering year 5 in the league. It only makes October's pre-extension deadline mistake all the more horrifying, potentially costing the 22-year-old tens of millions of dollars. Jonathan Kuminga isn't alone in a tough free agent market. According to NBA insider Jake Fisher in May, Kuminga rejected a 5-year, $150 million extension from the Warriors in order to bet on himself to have a huge 4th year and earn more during this current free agency period. Kuminga will be lucky to get anywhere near that sort of deal now, having continued to experience an up-and-down role under Steve Kerr in his 4th season while also missing a significant period due to an ankle injury. Once he returned from injury, nothing characterized Kuminga's career with Golden State more than the fact he started the playoffs out the rotation, then suddenly became the team's best player in the last 4 games of the second round following Stephen Curry's hamstring injury. Kuminga averaged nearly 25 points on over 55% shooting in those 4 games against the Minnesota Timberwolves, yet that doesn't appear to have raised his value to a point he and his management would like. It's far from just a Kuminga issue though, rather the brutal reality that faces many free agents this offseason, and particularly those who are restricted and still bound by their current team. If this isn't the worst market for restricted free agents in the last generation, I don't want to see it, ESPN's Brian Windhorst said on Tuesday. There's just no money out there. Sign-in trades are very tough to pull off because the team has the rights and aren't motivated to play ball. While Kuminga awaits a new deal, so too are other notable restricted free agents like Josh Giddey, Quentin Grimes, and Cam Thomas. It's not that teams don't necessarily want these players, they just can't afford to pay what they're asking for in today's CBA. It gives their current teams enormous leverage, particularly when a team like the Warriors are also asking for something of significant value in return via sign-in trade. Still, Kuminga, his camp and the other restricted free agents should have realized that the Brooklyn Nets were going to be the only team with cap space, and should therefore have taken the reasonable deals on offer from their current team when they had the chance.